I'm here today with Mike Ferrier, long-term Monaco resident and the author of this book. Mike, what induced you to write this book, Mayhem in Monte Carlo?
Well, I'm a long-term advertising man, been in advertising for years, and you know, every advertising man or advertising writer thinks he has a novel or two in him. So I did it to prove that I had a novel or two in me. So
Can you tell us what this book is about?
well, it's about Monaco and a caricature of the people who live here. It starts with a murder. Two guys throw a body overboard, and the rest of the book you're wondering who they are. Meanwhile, there's a heroine from my first book who comes over here to open the Mexican restaurant. Things go dramatically wrong. And then there's a dowager from Scotland who comes down here to sell her Rolls Royce. The two plots are intermingled, and towards the end it becomes a huge mess as the Monegasques try to get everybody out of town. And it ends up with a bunch of murders and chases and goodness of that. It's a fun read if your nerves are up to it.
And how's the reaction been so far to your book?
Well, mainly good. One person wrote to me and said, I don't follow the plot. So I sent her a coloring book. But generally speaking, people have enjoyed it. It's fun.
Now, are you sure that the characters in this book are totally fictitious?
Yes, they're totally fictitious, I think. Now, some of the characters you'll recognize as the details are based on them, but it's not them, because the people in my book are not very nice people.
And will there be a sequel to Mayhem in Monte Carlo?
Of course, there was a prequel, which was called The Little Brown Diamond, and there's a sequel where some of the main characters move out to St. Petersburg, Russia, and get involved in a huge fight between the KGB and the CIA. That's fun, too. That's coming out next year when I can finish writing it.
Your background in advertising, was that something that came in very useful in writing this book?
Yeah, because an advertising writer, you know, you get the basics of how you put a book together just from that. And of course, I've lived all over the world. I've lived in 15 different countries. So you'll see that reflected in the books because there are scenes in there from Mexico, Florida, Russia, various different parts of the world. So that adds a little color to the story.
I think it was Jack Nicholson who said that Monaco is Alcatraz for the very rich. Do you have any comments to make on that?
Well, I'm not very rich. Alcatraz, I don't know. I heard about Somerset Maugham, a shady place for sunny people, or sunny place for shady people. But my recipe for living here is to have enough money to go out to dinner and to have a young wife to keep you young and active. That's my recipe.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike Ferrier.